Beautiful day here in the Texas Hill Country. We're about an hour west of La La Land in Austin, Texas, where all lives don't matter. But don't get me started. We're going to have fun this morning, and you're going to meet Santos Bonacci. And we're going to talk about many things: religion, astrology, symbolism, uh, unmovable Earth not spinning, maybe? Whoa. Numerology, mythology. He's an interesting fellow. We'll tell you just a little bit about him. But welcome to the show. We stream here most every morning. Usually we take Thursdays off. And please join us anytime. OneRadioNetwork.com. We have about 3,000 hours of audios, and all our videos are up on BitChute. We play around on Telegram. We just got put in timeout again on Facebook for another 30 days. So we're probably just going to leave that alone and not go back because who cares? If you'd like to be on the show this morning, 888-663-6386. Email Patrick at OneRadioNetwork.com. We did a show yesterday with David Wise all about the unmovable, non-spinning Earth thing, as I've been studying this idea for about a month, and we have been sending out the lost history to people, 20 hours. If you want those, email me. And I was kind of really, I watched about half of those and said, you know what, I don't think I'm moving. And then I came across many people, including Wise and Dubay and Dave, what's his name? He's a nice fellow going to be on. And then Santos Bonacci, he kind of came up with the whole flat Earth people. And I think he's really fascinating. And I think you're going to enjoy talking to him because I like to talk about cool things like why we are, where we are, who we are, what's it all about, Alfie, and these kinds of things. And I think he's ready to go here. You're looking good, Mr. Bonacci. Thanks for being on the show. You're in Mexico, right? And good morning.
Yep, Mexico, just south of Cancun, a place called Puerto Morelos.
Puerto Morelos. How'd you find your way down there?
I came to Cancun from Oaxaca to do a presentation, and I liked it here, and so I just stayed.
You just stayed, huh? Good people down there. You like it?
Yeah, I made the right decision because after I left, things started getting very brutal down in Oaxaca. My best friend was murdered in hospital. He died of the sea, and he was very vocal in his community about the fakeness of it all, and and the corruption, and the people who are getting paid to perpetrate this sea lie.
Yes.
And so, and I know he would never ever go to a hospital nor a doctor. He would never do that, no matter how sick he would get. So they either bombed him with frequencies, they targeted him, and then got him in to a hospital and then killed him. They murdered him. 100%. My best friend was murdered. And 4 other prominent people in town who were against the sea, they got killed as well. So I got out of there right at the right time.
Yeah, you did. Santos Bonacci, he is a long-standing researcher. And Santos, you've been working in the field of astrology and religion, symbolism, alchemy, weaving these threads together. It's a perspective. Please pronounce it for me. C-Y-N?
Syncretism.
Syncretism. Syncretism. Is that a word that you came up with?
No. You can go to Wikipedia and you can look up syncretism. It's been around forever. Syncretism is the underlying science underpinning every field of human knowledge, whether it's alchemy, theology, philosophy, astrology. Syncretism is what holds them all together in one field. So it's not surprising that a lot of people don't know about it. We've been so dumbed down. But syncretism is the loving, truthful, universal religion. There's no other one. There's just one. It's syncretism. Everything is interrelated. Everything is interrelated, and that's what syncretism teaches.
I see. So there's just no doubt we are. It's just all one thing. Stars, moons, suns, Santos, Patrick, our listeners, the birds, the bees, and the trees, we're all connected. We just are one, not even connected, right? We're even more than connected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Nick,
Yeah,
isn't
for
that,
sure.
isn't that wonderful? Isn't that a beautiful thing?
I think so. Yes, because it shows that we've got a lot of power if we are all one. You know, we're not individuated and weakened and debilitated. We can join together and express that oneness. Once we get together as humans, we are formidable, and there will be no enemy, no demons that can overpower us, because then we have the angels on our side. And when you have the angels on your side, you never, ever, ever lose.
You just don't lose. So, how do you work with it and talk to people in your own life? And our listeners, I get angry letters, about Fauci and, Big Pharma and Bill Gates and, whatever, the cabal. We are part of them. They are part of us. We have created them. So, how do you work with that?
Well, we have to expose that.
You think that's important?
Yeah, because that's what the truth is. That's what the truth does. It's like children, in a family. If mummy says, you can't have those cookies, but little Johnny, he goes and eat cookies. Well, little Mary, she's going to tell her mother, because she doesn't want her brother to grow up to be a lying, thieving, cheating little criminal. So, so in effect,
Right.
she's helping her brother, even though he got angry. And these guys either need correction or elimination, because some of them have gone beyond the point of no return. So they will be processed. We're going to see the day when these people will be probably guillotined or something like that, or just put straight in Gitmo. But that day is nigh. It's very, very, very close.
And why do you feel like, let's see, do you think it matters if they get guillotined or put in prison or just put on an island and ship them food? I mean, we don't really want to care what happens to them, do we? I mean, doesn't that just mark karma for us?
No, no, it
No?
doesn't mark karma for us. If we as a collective, which is God, if we decide that they must be removed, if you leave a rotten apple in a case of good apples,
Hmm.
eventually the good apples are not going to turn the rotten apple into a good apple. It's too far gone. You have to grab that apple and you have to remove it from the case. Otherwise, all the other apples will be infested. So these rotten apples that are too far gone, they need to be removed. It's simple as that. Because love bears all things. It can even bear evil because it's more powerful than evil. It's
Hmm.
more healing,
Hmm.
and but it cannot bear an excess of evil. So what we have now is an excess of evil, which has to be contained. Otherwise, everybody is going to be misled. And we've seen so many people, like sheep to the slaughter, going straight into their own deaths. Even smart doctors, even smart
Sure. Yeah,
entertainers like
I understand.
Eric Clapton. He went straight down to get his J. Oh, I'm gonna get my second J. You got to do the right thing. And now he's regretting it.
Hmm. Oh, but if we let's take you've heard the story, the Hatfields and the McCoys, the old idea in the West where these families were feuding like for hundreds of years. You've heard about that idea? Okay, so then they say, well, you killed my great granddad, so I got to kill you, and then they kill you, and then they say, well, then you killed my dad, and it keeps going on and on and on ad nauseum. Santos, it just keeps going. Doesn't it? The only way that it can stop the violence is to one side just give up and say, okay, well, I forgive you, I forgive you, I'm done, we're done. Doesn't that stop the violence? And if we just keep doing more violence, doesn't that just continue it?
Yeah, it does. This is not violence; it's justice.
Ah,
So justice is different. Justice must be met. If justice isn't met, then corruption, like leaven in the dough, will cause it to ferment. So it will just continue to ferment. It's not about, we're not doing violence. If we put someone in jail to protect the community,
mhm.
that's not violence. That's justice.
And do you think that as spiritual beings in a body, which we are, that that's part of our fate, karma, job to do?
It's not yours and mine,
Mm,
because we've got our jobs, but it's the jobs of people who have put their hand up to be a judge, to be a
mhm,
politician,
mhm.
to be a leader in the community. We're not that, so we're not going to be involved. It's we won't even see it happening, but it's going to happen. That will be taken care by the people. Everyone has their own tasks.
Yes,
Everyone
sir.
has their own strengths,
Mhm.
and everybody does what they came to do for. I didn't come here to judge people. I came here um, to be a teacher of truth. I know that. I've known that since I was a very, very little boy,
Did you?
and I haven't swayed from that mission. So I'm not going to be going around swinging swords, but I'll be happy when the likes of George Soros, Bill Clinton, um, Kissinger, when they're all in jail.
Mhm.
I'll be
Santos,
very, very,
yes,
because
sir.
can't
I
stop me,
understand. Yeah, I think we all will be more well pleased. Santos Panacci is with us. If you go to join us, 888-663-6386. Email Patrick at oneradionetwork.com. So you have studied and talked about the idea of astrology for a long time. Is the basic idea why it's let's see, why it's useful is that if we're all connected and Patrick comes into this embodiment, whether it's at conception or birth, and we'll talk about what you think is the time, and the planets are in a certain position that if we're all connected, then we can look at these planets and they can kind of give us an idea of what's going on with Patrick because we're all connected, but they're not controlling me. Is that fair,
Yep,
accurate,
yep,
close?
that's a good sum up.
Is it?
Yep. Think about
So
think about
go ahead. No, you go ahead.
think about the moon, for instance. Now,
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, astrology is a pseudoscience. Oh, it's from the devil." But they all know that when the full moon turns up, the police have more crime, the hospitals have more suicides and deaths,
Hmm.
um, marriages suffer, arguments prevail during the full moon. People don't sleep during the full moon. So those people themselves, they themselves actually experience astrology and yet deny it. This is how stupid we've become. We've been indoctrinated to say these things, and yet our personal experience should teach us otherwise. We see every time the full moon comes out, all the loonies start acting crazy. All this behaviour changes. So we can see if the one moon can do that to us, imagine what the sun does.
Hmm.
The sun can feed you in the summer and it can kill you in the winter. It can kill you in the desert if you haven't got any protection and no water. Jupiter, Saturn, they all have their frequencies. They are all doing things to us. The Mercury messes with your nervous system. When Mercury is in retrograde, everybody suffers. It's vicious. 3 weeks, 21 days of hell every 3 months when Mercury goes into retrograde. And people don't notice these things. And the only ones noticing them are the students of astrology, which is the science of electromagnetism. Everything is electromagnetic waves. And the astrological chart is just a chart of the electromagnetic wave of your constitution.
But if we are one with Mercury, we're doing it to ourselves.
Well, yeah, I guess so. I guess you are. If you're going to let Mercury worry you or hurt you, sure. But if you're not, look, some people, when there's danger, they run away. Other people, when there's danger, they go, all right, bring it on. They're ready.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's many different types of people. I mean, you have to make your own conclusions from your own nature. How do you react at the full moon? Do you let the full moon screw your night by not letting you sleep and by being angry with your partner and making you do crazy things? Or do you take the moon on and say, all right, this is bad, this is hurting me, the moon's trying to get to me, but let me take her on.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Bible says the fool sits in his house and says, oh, I better not go out today because there could be a lion in the street.
All right.
So if you're sitting in your home going, oh gee, there could be a tiger out there and he could pounce on me and gobble me all up, I'll just stay at home. Well, then you'll be well versed in the science of cowardice.
I see. And of course, I think it could be argued the only reason anything can gobble us up, Santos, if we believe it can.
Exactly, because we are immortal. We are Jedis. We are gods, demigods. We are fallen angels, I guess you could say. We are much more than this flesh stick. So this is why the truth is so important. When people learn this, they will learn their true power, and they will learn what they can achieve and what they can do.
We've been learning a bit about the moon and what it is or isn't, and then the planets and what it is or isn't, and seeing photographs from a Nikon camera of the different planets. And boy, it's, you've seen the pictures. So, in your opinion, after all the research that you've done, what are these planets? Let's start with the planets. What are they made out of? Are they liquid? Are they lights? Are they? They seem not to be some solid rock just floating around at random.
Absolutely, they are not material rocks. They are probably both of the things you first mentioned, liquid and light. In fact, they already hint in their academic conventional works that Saturn and Jupiter are gas giants. So you see, they're pretty cunning and conniving by telling you that they are gas giants. And then they turn around and say, oh, but Mars is terrestrial and we can go to Mars. We can't go to Jupiter because it's just made of gas. And yet when you look up the same, you see Jupiter next to Mars, they both look like two lights in the sky. And ancient astrology taught that all the bodies in the sky are entirely luminous. There is no physicality as we know it in them at all. The sun is made of hydrogen. That's water. It's a water body, for goodness sakes. And they tell you.
The sun is made of hydrogen. It's a water body. I mean, if you could manage to fly up there in some kind of Star Trek thing, you couldn't land on it. I mean, if you could stand there, you know what I'm saying? It's just not solid.
Well, for a start, it wouldn't be there. You can't go to it because it's not there. It's like the rainbow. You can't go and land on top of the rainbow because the rainbow is projected from your eye.
Yes, sir.
You see it, but it's not there.
Right.
We see the moon, but the moon is not there, so you can't go to it because you'll never find it.
It's not there.
No, it's a projection.
It's a projection because we believe it's there, hence we see it just like we do our bodies?
No, it's a projection in that um, the the sun is like a condensed rainbow.
Yes.
It's condensed, so it's now looks like a it looks like a sphere, but it's not. It's a porthole, and that porthole appears to us from our perspective to be there,
Yes,
but
sir.
it's not there. We see it there, right? So it's like if I get a magnifying glass and I project the sun's light from my magnifying glass onto the wall,
Yes, sir.
well, if you go there, you won't find a source of light. You'll just see the effect from my magnifying glass projecting onto it.
Yeah.
It's like your shadow. Your shadow cannot be reified. Your shadow cannot pick up and say, you know what, I'm sick of following this creep. I'm just going to get my own life and I'm just going to walk away. I've just been the shadow of this guy since he was born,
Right.
and I'm sick of it. So your shadow says, right, I'm out of here. It's just a shadow. It cannot be reified.
It's the same idea of there really isn't no there because it's all here.
It's all in your mind.
It's
the
all
sun
in our
is
mind.
in your mind.
Right. Yeah.
The stars are in your mind. The firmament is in your mind. The earth is in your mind. The universe is in your mind. It's all mental and mathematical.
So this reality, physical reality, can be the same idea that we're in this reality because we believe we are, and we think our bodies are solid because, well, they seem solid to me, but they're not really. It's just a dream. So it's the same thing as if you're on the astral plane or the causal or the mental plane. We're just on the physical plane.
True. We're in 4 planes, actually. We're not just in the physical plane. Human bodies cannot exist if they were not plasma, gas, liquid, and solid. In other words, in astrological terms, fire, air, water, earth.
The Chinese, 4 elements.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the Chinese have 5. They have metal and wood, and they take air out. So, because there are actually 5 elements, we call the 5th one ether. So this is ether. This is why we always do this, thumbs up, because when you do this, you've got your Kabbalistic Jewish tree. Ooh. Up here you have Kether, ether, and down here you have Malkuth, which is earth, which is earther. So ether to earther. So when you do this mudra, you're earthing yourself, you're grounding yourself. When you do this mudra, you are stabilizing your emotions. When you do this mudra, you are stabilizing your mind. When you do this mudra, you are energizing your body, because that's ether connecting to fire.
Ah, that's pretty cool.
So there's the Kabbalistic tree, and there are the 10 Sephiroth.
So
your body is the Temple of Solomon.
The Temple of Solomon. Wow, I like that. One of the things I've been thinking about since I came at the conclusion that I was on this immovable whatever, not spinning around. But then I kept asking, and I have been for the last month, where is Earth? So where is it? If there's no space, where is it? And it's just a state of consciousness, right? I mean, the only reason it exists is because we think it does.
Exactly. And God thinks it does. And you are God. So God thinking is the electrical universe that we live in. God knowing is the magnetic transcendental world that we also live in. So magnetism is the source and electricity is the force. The force of transverse vibratory waves are electrical, and they make the illusion of matter, because when a vibration happens, in between the vibration there is an effect, and that is only the electrical world can make this effect. Magnetism, which is a radial longitudinal wave, does not have physicality to it. It is pure conscious energy. Electricity is also, but it is temporal. It can only depend on magnetism. Electricity is a hybrid. It's a hybrid energy. One day there will be no electricity because there will be no physicality. There will only be magnetic, transcendental, metaphysical existence. So all of this that you see, it's all electrical. It's all atoms and waves.
Yes. Okay, let's go back to the Earth a minute. So the only reason that we could figure out a way how to get up and look at and see what the Earth really is because, and we're going to see whatever we expect.
We won't be able to. It's impossible to get up high enough to see all of the Earth. It's because the dome's only 98 miles high, and the rockets and laser beams will tell you that. I've just released a video called Flat Earth Proofs number 6 or number 7, where I show in Hawaii they sent laser beams to a certain point, and it got to 98 miles, and the laser beams didn't cross over each other. There was no crossing. They all just stopped, 4 of them, 4 laser beams.
Wow.
All stopped at one point, right? Now, below that, they crossed the beams below that. You know,
Yes, sir.
They shot a beam through another beam of laser, and yes, it went straight through. But when they pointed to the firmament, it stopped. All 4 just ended at an apex.
What
proving
yeah, go ahead.
that we have a roof and we cannot get out of this solar cell.
That's it. What Santos is talking about is the idea that you'll see with a lot of the immovable people, you can see the videos, that there's a firmament. It's almost like a dome that's, you say it's 98 miles high. And why do you suppose we and God together created like that?
Because that's how torus fields work. There's only one form in the universe: torus fields. Hyperboloid torus fields. So what's a hyperbola? Well, that's the part in the middle, the hourglass, the inverse of the sphere, which is inside every torus field. So every torus field has a hyperbola in it, and every organism, body, being in existence is made of atoms, small atoms, which are small torus fields.
Yeah, so tell us, speak to us like we're a young child or a golden retriever, Santos. What's a torus field? What's a torus field?
Well, if you view a magnet under a viewing film, a magnetic viewing film,
Mm-hmm.
You will see that white light is going out, and then black light is going back into the plane of inertia, and that's how magnets work. That's what they call a north pole and a south pole of a magnet. They don't exist.
They don't exist.
They literally do not exist. Poles do not. What we call poles don't exist. It's just redshift, blueshift. One part of the torus field is redshift, the other part is blueshift. So if you look at the work of Ken Wheeler, one of the world's leading magnetricians, in his YouTube channel Theoria Apophasis, you will see that the only shape that exists that the universe knows how to make. It's basically a point and two vortices come out of that point and create and loop back around and make a torus field. It's like a bubble. It's a sphere. Everything is spherical. And in the middle is the plane of inertia, which is the planet of Earth. So we live in a massive torus field, massive, massive. And the Earth is the plane of inertia, intersecting it in the middle.
Patrick Timpone, along with Santos Bacci, who just left the building with Elvis. What do you think about this stuff? 888-663-6386. Boy, I'm really having fun. I'm not going to even do any commercials because this is too much fun. Forget it. We have a lot of great products on our website. Go there, One Radio Network, buy something, and support us, and that'll be great. We have good stuff. So, again, let's get back to, so there's no Earth or there's no Earth as we know it, because people would say, well, what is it really? I want to look at it and see, what is it? What's the truth? You can't do that separately from yourself as soul looking at it, because that's what's making it whatever it is, right? The viewer, the soul, something like that.
Yeah, it's all an illusion.
It's just an illusion.
Constantly, but it's a beautiful illusion.
Yeah, it's fun, right? It's a trip. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a trip. It's work. It works. It's pleasant. Sometimes it's not pleasant, but generally it's a beautiful, beautiful illusion, and everyone's happy. You know, some people like to make money. They're rich. Other people like to travel. They go all around the world. Mm-hmm. Other people like to join a band and make music. Other people want to write a book.
Sure.
Everybody's, you can do whatever you want. It's free will. It's beautiful.
You know what's fascinating with some of the out-of-body experiences I've had in my spiritual practice, and once you get to the point where you just know that you're just I don't even know how to explain it, that you're just a viewpoint and you're part of God and you're God and there's nothing else. Everything's in you. I'm in everything. And then, you come back in your body and there's nothing else to do but do something. Like you say, write a book or make music or make babies or, whatever you want to do, man, because you can do whatever you want, right? I mean, it's just amazing, just tell me about some of your, what kind of experiences do you have when you dream, when your body's sleeping? And you're outside of your body. What kind of experiences do you have? They're called dreams, but
Well, I had some lovely dreams last night, so it's interesting that you should say I had some beautiful dreams. I was just in good company, feeling good, and I woke up probably 3 times throughout the night. And I went back and just kept dreaming the same dream. It was just very rare. So.
What do you think is going on when we're dreaming? What do you think? What's the experience really like?
I think we're just connecting with past lives, past experiences, future lives, future experiences. We're going out of time space, and we're exploring. We're connecting with an event or a situation which may transpire in the future or has in the past, because it's all a oneness anyway. So all of your incarnations that you ever had, you can pretty much sum them all up as one life, one long life, and many, many dreams in that life. So this a dream. When I was born, when I came into this world, I made a contract to be a teacher. I made a contract to discover the truth, because maybe I was deluded in my past life and everything was totally wrong. And so this time I said, no, this I want to just be. So that's what I do. Now I consider myself to be a truther. I research, I discover the truth, I come to the end of the matter and the conclusion and make a correct conclusion and then share that with people. So, it's not a matter of opinions or beliefs. I share those with people. Those are private. I share what I can say. I can reference. I always reference the book where I get my wisdom from and learnings and teachings. I can share the websites. I can share material. I can support everything that I teach. So it's not opinion at all.
Because you know what you know. You know what you've experienced, right? You know what you've experienced.
Opinion is the most basic of human intellect. That's people who are going around, my football team's the best football team, and Fords are better than Chevrolets, and all of these opinionated people. That's the most fatalistic human. And then above that is the sense, one who goes by their senses, and that's called in Japanese a sensei, or in our culture a senior, or a senator. We only give responsible. Senators are not fools. We don't give people so much political power if they're an idiot. They have to be sensible and not opinionated. So once you get out of opinion, the lower intellect, you get into sense, right? Then you get into knowledge, then you get into understanding, then wisdom, then intuition, and then theurgy, and then you're off.
Then you're off to do whatever you came here to do or to help people along the way?
Well, now you've discovered your unlimitedness. You're not limited by opinions.
Right.
And your unconditionedness. We are unconditioned, but not in these bodies. This body needs food, it needs sleep, it needs to go to the bathroom, it needs liquids, it needs rest, it needs to do work. I am limited and conditioned by many needs that this body is hungering for. It needs love. I want a companion. I want my partner. I want a holiday. I need a good car. Well, when you don't have a body, you're not limited by all this rubbish.
Yeah. We talk a great deal about health here, Santos, on this show. And over the years, the past 10 years in particular, I've been very blessed to be able to see how there's just not anything that goes on in my body that I don't create. Nothing. I've seen every thought and every idea and every image that I believe is real, at that moment in time is in my body. Right? Because the body-mind thing is it's just a hologram, right? Kind of. Is that your experience? And you could probably explain it more eloquently than I have just.
Pretty similar to you, yes. My experience is similar to that as well, yes. Every day you are a different person. Every day you wake up, look at yourself in the mirror. Morning, I look different to how I looked yesterday morning. Every morning I see something different. Something has changed. But I'm still the same, even though I've changed. We changed, but we're still the same because the soul is still in here. It doesn't disappear. So in other words, when you write a book and you write the introduction, and then the next day you write chapter 1, the next day chapter 2, the next day chapter 3. Well, that book is changing, but it's still the same book. It's not your auntie's biography. It's yours.
Right.
It'll never transform into your auntie's autobiography. It's always going to be your autobiography. But every day you add a chapter. You add more experiences, more information. It's still yours, but it's changing. It's never going to be anyone else's.
No. I've been
so
working. Go ahead.
Whilst you keep your sameness, This is why there's always a war between conservatism and progressive liberalism. And they're very clever to pitch these as red. Republicans are red, Democrats are blue.
And blue.
Neither of them gives a shit about you. But it's funny that they should choose those colors: red shift, blue shift, red pill, blue pill,
Oh.
red siren, blue siren, red tap, red faucet, blue faucet. Baby boys get blue, baby girls get red, pink. Roses are red, violets are blue. You see, so what they've done is they've given you good things. The Republicans have got good things because they want to conserve what is good in America. And the Liberals have got good things because they want to change what's bad in America.
Mm-hmm.
But when they get co-opted by the Jesuits and the Freemasons and the globalists with their false idol, the globe, and their agenda, then what happens is conservatism becomes bigotry and liberalism becomes demonism, because now you can abort a baby at 9 months. You can just cut their head off and sell it to McDonald's to put in their hamburgers, and it's completely legal. And the Liberals run people trafficking. They run Black Lives Matter and Antifa, which are all organizations which are totally and utterly demonized. So which is good, which is bad? Well, neither of them are. They're both good and they're both bad. You see, progressivism is great. Conservatism is also great. See, throughout the day, I conserve all my good habits, and I also liberate myself from bad habits. So I'm a liberal and I'm a conservative. Simple.
Yeah. Do you think the forces that are trying to separate people today on the political level, geopolitically, the globalists, what's going on with COVID, and this whole idea there's a virus running around trying to kill us and everything. Do you think it's more, this is like a big deal in human history, or it's just another thing that's always going on? It's just got different, it's just dressed up differently.
It's dressed up differently, but it's the same pattern as the elites have been doing all the time. The bubonic plague, the black plague, the Justinian plague.
Yes,
these were all created by the elites to euthanize, eugenically, and control the populations, the plebeians, because they are the patricians. And they don't like the plebeians when they get to pop. They have to decimate the population. So now they're going big kill, and they've designed, certain medications which will absolutely murder in the millions. But what's going to happen is it's going to backfire. People are waking up, and this time they're not going to get away with it. They got away with it with the Spanish flu. People thought, oh, it was a bad flu. No, it wasn't. It was the vaccination program that they ran,
yes,
and the radio frequencies working symbiotically together to destroy people's systems. With AIDS, it was made by cheap. They put it out and murdered millions of people. These people, like Bill Gates, they are murderers, and they love it. They love murdering. If they don't murder every day, they're not happy.
And why do you think we incarnated at this time to experience this?
Well, I can't really answer that exhaustively and comprehensively because I'm not in my full God mind and knowing all things. But what I think is that the laws of karma, which we are under, are developing something that the human race has not yet developed. So collectively, we still haven't reached the 100th monkey point where we have elevated our consciousness enough to be able to love unconditionally. We still think, oh, yeah, yellow people, black people, and white people, and coloured people, and we think of status and caste, class in society. Oh, he's rich, so he must be a good person. Like, he's got millions of dollars, and that guy living under the bridge who looks all scruffy, he must be really a really bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So this is all rubbish. This is all rubbish. And so when we get over this, we will learn to love unconditionally. There are multi millionaires who are very, very, very good people, and yet there are some who are pure evil. And the same with poor people. They are humble and sweet and lovely, but some of them, they will stab you in the back, murder you, just to get 3 or 4 coins out of your pocket and go and buy a cigarette.
Do you think that's the lesson here, if we can learn to love it all unconditionally and not judge it, is going to facilitate this great awakening that appears to be going on?
Well, it is. Yes.
Yes, it.
Look, the elites, Bill Gates is doing us a favor when he smirks and says, oh, the second wave is going to get people's attention. And then you see his husband, Linda Gates, smiling. They are actually doing this as actors. They're doing this to wake us the fuck up. Sorry for the bad language, but it needs to be said that way. They also are sick of this murdering and pillaging and plundering and getting rich. It's boring to them as well. So they're also looking to see what's going to come out of this. Because if it turns out that we all wake up and we make a beautiful singing and dancing in the streets and everyone's rich and good, everyone's healthy because we've got technology, magnetic technology that can heal everybody, they'll be in that. They'll be a part of it too. So there are too many sleeping people, and I believe that their role is crucial. I believe that we need Kissinger and Brzezinski and all of these creepy looking reptiles, the Pope, the Queen, these degenerate pedophiles. At the moment, a lot of people need to experience these people because they are so asleep that it is dangerous. They are a danger to themselves and to humanity.
Yes, sir. So it's taking this kind of evil so souls can say, man, what's going on here? I got to change. I got to do something to wake up. So it's a gift in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't understand it because we see it as pure evil, but it is a gift. They're giving us the best gift ever. People now are standing up.
Yes, sir.
And when you do that, then you feel proud. And when you feel proud, then you do things with pride. And what you do with pride ends up being done correctly.
Correctly.
Because everyone's doing things incorrectly. These people that are sleeping, they're going off every night sleeping with prostitutes, getting drunk, getting drugged out of their brains, escaping the illusion, hurting themselves. Now they've sobered up, and they're on the street, and they're going, right. We want to open our businesses. We want to get back into it. And when they do, they'll do it properly this time. They won't have a lackadaisical, apathetic way of doing things anymore. That'll be over. That's gone. That world.
Here's an email for Santos Bacci. We're having a good time. Santos Bonacci, and we're going to tell you all about where you can read and look at his material, Bonacci. This is from, Melinda. We just mentioned Melinda. Can you ask your guest, are the stars and the planets and the moon inside the firmament or outside the firmament?
They're in the firmament.
They're in.
Yes, they are. According to Pierluigi Ghina, the Italian genius who worked with Marconi, he said the stars are holes in the sky.
Holes?
They are wormholes. Yes, yes, they are. They are. They are not their own source of light. The light that comes from those holes in the firmament come from a more divine, greater source, just like the sun. The sun is pouring light in through its portal. It's only a portal. It's only a wormhole. That's all the sun is. And light is pouring in from another source. It's called the sun behind the sun. And so...
above the firmament, the source above the firmament, more God stuff. More God stuff.
Yes, within the crystalline sea, which is, according to Ptolemy, the 9th sphere. The firmament is the 8th sphere, and the primum mobile is the 10th sphere. There's only 10. So the 7 visible planets, then Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto make the firmament, the crystalline sea, and the primum mobile, in that order, respectively. So stars are holes in the firmament, which are like when you're in the forest, for instance.
Yes, sir.
I've been to the Californian redwoods, and I've laid down on the dirt looking up, and there's all this leaf covering. You're actually in the shade, but over there you see a beam of light coming through the leaves. Over here you see a beam of light, and there's another one over there, and you see 6 or 7 beams of light pouring through that canopy of the forest. That's how it is with the firmament. The firmament is a metallic liquid substance which is firm, and it has holes in it. And what happens is, like the canopy in the forest, those stars are leaking or pouring light through them into our cosmos.
So let's see if I understand what you're saying. The stars are actually, they are the firmament, and then the light of God is coming through? Or are the stars underneath the firmament?
Possibly some stars are underneath the firmament,
mm-hmm.
but according to the ancient Greeks, Anaximedes said that the stars are fixed to the firmament like nails on the ceiling.
Whoa.
The Babylonians taught that the stars are like glued to the firmament.
Uh-huh.
Pierluigi Ghina says they are wormholes.
But with a firm Earth, the stars do move around like this, right? And over a year's period, so they do move according to our perception, don't they?
Yes, they move 15 degrees every hour in the ether. So they are rotating clockwise over the flat Earth once every day.
But how do they do that if they're hooked to the firmament, if they are the firmament? I'm losing you.
Yeah, because the firmament is precessing. It's turning.
Whoa. The firmament's moving with them.
Of course, if you see a toroidal field, you'll see that it is precessing. It has a precession factor built into it.
Wow, that's really pretty interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, so, it's just the way electromagnetic works. You have an ether which turns over an earther. Ether and earther. Earth is the bottom element. Ether is the 5th element, called the quintessence.
Quintessence. Is ether in any way connected to what we kind of think of as the etheric body or subconscious?
Yes,
Same,
yes, it is.
same thing.
Not the same, not the
But
same, but it is connected. Yes.
yeah, we're talking with Santos Bonacci, Patrick Timpone, OneRadioNetwork.com. So, um, do you think that the uh, the position of the planets when we are born, and then we um, do you think that happens at conception or when we take our first breath?
Both.
Both.
Yep.
You can actually do astrology according to the conception day and the
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah, of course, of course. It's more profound as well. It's more
Wow.
it's more revealing about the your true high nature, whereas the natal chart is more dealing with your lower nature.
And then what about what they call um, what kind of astrology? Now the name's not in my conscious right now. It'll come back around there. Um, but do you think moms will tell you that the baby is really in their stomach, that he's you know, but it almost feels like they go back and forth. And does the Bible contend that the baby stays in permanently, but nothing's permanent at the first breath?
At the first breath is when the individual is conditioned.
Kind of cemented in for this lifetime, so to speak.
Yeah, well, in the womb, in the placenta, it is protected more or less from direct electromagnetic influences coming from the planets. But once it comes out of the body, then it is exposed to the conditions. It's like a mummy. Once you unwrap the mummy, it starts to decay
Uh-huh.
because the elements in the air now take over and uh, you know, affect that body.
Santos, why do you think some people age?
It's a disconnect to God's source. It's a disconnect to reality. It's a disconnect to and bad practices.
Hmm.
Ejaculatory sex, for instance, is one of the biggest
Yes, sir.
killers of men. Men who die young are men who ejaculate during sex. They haven't learned how to master the implosion internal orgasm.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore they are spilling their seed and killing themselves. Every time a man ejaculates, he is murdering his own soul and spirit and body and dying quickly. That's why you see prostitutes and pimps, they're always ugly and wrinkly in their 30s and 40s. You know, a prostitute doesn't look good in her 60s, you know.
Right. Yeah.
she, she looks like a hag.
So maybe ejaculation is really meant for procreation, and that's it.
And you don't even need to ejaculate to procreate. There's
No
a way
kidding.
of releasing a gas
Wow.
during the orgasm. You just release a little bit of gas, and the sperm is in that gas.
Yeah.
You do not need to release any fluids. I've been practicing this since 2012.
That's fascinating. I worked a little bit with the Taoist idea of Stephen Chang and ejaculation rather than that idea. But it almost feels like if you look at ejaculation as a 10, if you're at a 9, that anything can happen there if you stay there. So is that when the sperm is happening?
I don't understand your question.
In other words, say on a scale of 1 to 10, if the actual ejaculation would be a 10, and you were at a 9, and that feeling that you know that anything is possible and whatever, but you had not ejaculated, would that be the point where the little sperm is kind of moving out the gas?
I don't know.
Okay,
You'd have to
just
be
an
at
idea.
0. You wouldn't have to be at 9.
You don't have to be.
There's no middle ground. There's such a thing called grey tantra, which is in the middle.
Yes, sir.
White tantra is pure non-ejaculatory sex. Black tantra, the left-hand part, is only ejaculatory sex. And then there's people who practice a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Right.
And that is also a great delusion and deception and very, very harmful. No ejaculation at all, ever, 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 ever leads to everlasting life, period. If our young boys were taught how to have sex without ejaculating, they would be immortal. That's the secret of immortality, because the elixir of life is the cerebrospinal fluid in your body.
Yes. So
and
that's
when
probably
you
where
ejaculate, you are depleting your nervous system.
your essence. That's probably where the whole idea of religions and sin and masturbation came from. That's probably where that came from, even though it's a kind of out of control.
Yeah.
Probably where it came from. Patrick at OneRadioNetwork.com. So here's an email. Why? This is great. Why is thinking that we live in this snow globe more spiritual? Okay.
I don't think it's more spiritual at all. It doesn't necessarily affect your spirituality. This is what a lot of religious flat earthers are trying to claim, that it makes you more spiritual. And well, in a way it can, because if you once believed, according to the Jesuit theory of relativity and the Big Bang, that just an accident and it's all just, you came from a mush of soup and wow, it's so fabulous how all these atoms just came together and made this beautiful creation. The globe does go hand in hand with these other godless theories. So when you learn that the Earth is a fixed system and that and we have a dome, and it then can change your spirituality, because then it makes you realize that it was specially designed and there must be a designer, and that there's no accident, and that we are more special than just spinning around waiting for us to crash into some other Earth, which is flying at 650 million miles in our direction, because supposedly that's how fast we're going.
Yes, sir.
650 million miles every hour. And yet Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, etc., every year keep making the same circle. There's no parallax, there's no distortion in the shapes of the constellation. For 450,000 years of Egyptian record keeping, we still have Aries and Taurus. They're still there. They were talking about those constellations 450,000 years ago. So in every hour of history, we've been displaced 650 freaking million miles every bloody hour, and yet there's no random stars. It's obvious that the Earth is stationary. The Earth hasn't moved 1/10 of a millimeter since the day of its inception. That's how fast the Earth is going.
Do you think it's possible that the day of its inception, whatever God is, it all plopped together, but it probably evolved from gases and everything, right? Just little by little, evolved in gases and some kind of an evolution into what it is today, minerals, and what do you think?
Well, gases are atoms, and liquids are atoms. Plasma is atoms. Solid state Earth is atoms. So it's all about atoms and their frequency, because you can make gold out of hydrogen. You just have to change the frequency. Just put a different frequency on the hydrogen molecule, change it, and voila, you've got gold.
You can make gold out of hydrogen? No kidding.
Of course. You can make anything out of hydrogen. You can make copper, you can make zinc, you can make sodium, magnesium, plutonium. Just change the frequency. Simple.
It's interesting. We've been breathing hydrogen gas for a couple of years with a pretty cool contraption, and there's something going on with that. I don't know why, but hydrogen is a pretty interesting molecule.
Yeah, well, hydrogen is not a molecule. Water is, because it's a compound or a molecule. It has to be a compound to be a molecule, I believe. I might be wrong, but it's not. It's hydrogen is what we will say elementary, an element, because it's only one thing. So when you join it to oxygen, H2O, now you have a compound which now makes molecules. But you're on the right track. What you're saying is correct. Is that these elements, they are just frequencies. You know, we know them as gold and silver, etc., but all they are sonoluminescent frequencies. And what happens is similar frequencies attract each other and come together, and that's why you can have a handful of gold. But in that gold, there'll also be, you know, quartz and a little bit of, nickel, a little bit of zinc, and you have to purify. You have to extract all that and to make it pure and pure and pure. So it will still attract other elements, but mostly it will attract what it's similar to.
Here's an email for you. This is from Sharon. So how do you explain shooting stars, meteors, Halley's Comet, and other celestial events? Oh.
They are all discharges from the firmament, like lightning. Lightning is a discharge running along the firmament. And sometimes, of course, lightning can hit the ground and ground itself. But whereas meteorites, they would be stuff falling from the firmament. Comets, they are discharges in the firmament. So there's various kinds of phenomena that we think is coming from outer space, but it is not. It's coming from the firmament. And the ancients knew this. I mean, above the firmament, there's animal life. There are fish. Many times in history, it's been recorded that it's rained fish from the sky. Fish are falling out of the sky. How's that possible?
So there's water above the firmament?
Yeah, the crystalline sea. Waters above and waters below. In the Bible,
crystalline
it says, and God made the firmament to separate the waters below from the waters above. And those waters have fish in them and all kinds of animals. And they, in history, frogs, fish, all kinds of animals have fallen, literally, from the sky. You can punch this in Google and you can see this has been recorded in many historical books where this phenomenon has occurred. Fish falling out of the sky, raining fish.
Do you think that it's going to be part of our job or interest or fate, if you will, to really understand this on the physical level of what's up there and explore that and all of that? Or will always be just kind of a mystery, do you think?
No, it's our job to work it all out.
Do you think so? Really, it's our job to work it out.
I know so. It's the only way to escape unconditionedness. You have to know where you live, who you are, where you're going, where you come from. You have to know these things.
That's kind of like our job here. That's why we're here.
Yeah, well, the Roman elites have destroyed all the records of our ancestry. That's why we can only go back 200, 300 years, and then all of a sudden stop. We can't work out if our grandparents were Julius Caesar or Cleopatra, or we can't do that physically. And yet record keeping has been going on forever. So where are those records? Well, they took them away so that we would not know who we are. And that's deliberate. Keep us in ignorance. That way they can control us.
So this story that we are told a bit in this series called The Lost History, you probably have seen that. In general, do you think that's pretty accurate information? A lot of it, some of it?
Yeah, I've seen that one. I think it's really good, that one.
Okay, The Lost History. We send that to people. I think there's like 15 hours, and they contend that some time ago, I don't know how long ago, maybe you could tell us, there are forces, the Jesuit Freemason people, they created the whole idea of the spinning globe and circling the sun, that we were just meaningless particles hurtling through space, just to kind of keep us in our place, to know, to 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 try to condition us to believe that we're not God, we're just nothing. Is that pretty accurate?
Yeah, yeah. They make us feel limited and small, like an insect, crawling around, doing slave labor, earning a living, earning a salary, having a job, all these words for slaves.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And don't you think it's interesting too that NASA wants to convince us that the further we go out there, this is where the secrets are, and this is how we're going to find out all these answers that we're looking for. When it's really, Santos, in my opinion, just the opposite, to go within, right? Just the opposite of what they're telling us.
Yeah, exactly. They're trying to tell us that we're spending a lot of money to go out there and explore and find our origins. And we're going to work out. Well, they're not doing that. They know there's a firmament. They allude to it always in their functions. You know, Hillary Clinton has mentioned many times that there's a glass ceiling, and that she's trying to break that glass ceiling.
Yeah.
You know, they allude to it. They know. They think it's a joke that we think we're on a globe. They know that the Earth is stationary and flat. They did that to destroy all of our ancient civilizations, all of their teachings. They did that deliberately, willfully, and maliciously against humanity to keep us ignorant.
Do you think, as spiritual beings, being omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent, that deep down we kind of know all the lies that we're being told, you know, all of the money, you know, all of these things, spinning globe, whatever, that keeps us from advancing spiritually, because deep down we know the jig is up?
Yep.
Do you? That's what it feels like to me, Santos. It's like, okay, yeah.
The jig is up. The gig is definitely up. And the writing's on the wall for the elites. They know that they've only got this small window of opportunity. That's why they're trying to kill people as quick as possible, encouraging them with free medications. Come to the, you know, we've set up an arena for people to just come pour in and get their medications. Yeah. In the meantime, people are dropping dead on the spot, and so it's clearly euthanasia. It's clearly a eugenics program, and they think they're going to get away with it, but they're not.
Why do you so confident that something's big's going to happen here? They're not going to get away with it. Why are you so confident?
Because I've read all the scriptures.
You just see it.
The scriptures were made many, many years ago when they had more foresight, more forevision. They knew and saw. They had the vision. They saw it. They saw Armageddon. They saw the Gotterdammer room. They saw the twilight of the gods. They saw it and wrote it down.
Wow.
And the scriptures never fail. The Bible never, ever, ever fails. That book is my favorite book. Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Zendavesta. All of these books talk about this end time when the evil ones will be exposed. Apocalypse, meaning apokalypsi in Greek, meaning revelation, exposing, unveiling. that the curtains are open, and now we can see the little green man, and he, you know, in the Wizard of Oz, and we can see and this big, scary thing that everybody was afraid of was just a little dirty, degenerate piece of shit man that had machinery and technology to put everybody in fear. And that's what's going to happen. We're going to open the curtains and say, oh, well, look at that. The emperor has no clothes.
No clothes. Naked as you can, right? And I think it's fascinating too, this last couple of years, we've, talked to and studied the work of Lankas and Cowan and Kaufman and others. And we know that there is no germ, right? That whole thing has just been made up since, I don't know for how long, right? The germ theory. Just, there's nothing that can hurt us.
No, absolutely. We have an immunity. We have our own immunity, and it's worked and kept us alive to this day. So there's no reason why we should resort to, companies, I won't name the names, that
Sure.
are making these medications. Why should we go to them now when we used to get immunity from food and exercise? Why now should we change that? It's like saying, it's like, I guess, raising a family and having a loved partner, and then just walking out and going next door and saying, I want to be in this family. I don't want my family next door anymore. So I'm just gonna hang out here, and this is my new family. Your neighbour's not going to like that, and your immune system is not going to like it if you don't depend on it and rely on it and trust it to help you through any bullshit virus that supposedly exists.
Randy writes in, I'm enjoying the show. So rain comes from the firmament and not the clouds?
Both.
Both.
Yep.
Here's one from Kate in Lexington. So aliens actually don't exist, and people like Dr. Stephen Greer could be controlled opposition to convince us of a vast and infinite universe?
Well, the universe is vast and infinite. There are many, 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 many millions and billions of infinite solar systems like ours. This is not the only one. We are not the only ones. This is where the church-going flat earthers get it so wrong. They're so delusional. Oh, God only made this earth and we're special and it's only the only one. Well, read Bhagavad Gita, read some other scriptures other than the Bible. Even the Bible suggests that Jesus said, in my Father's kingdom, there are many, many mansions.
Right.
And I'm going away to prepare one for you. There's many, many mansions. This solar system is one of those mansions. We are only in one of an infinite number of worlds like this. So it upsets me when I see the flat earthers just disgracing themselves with stupid nonsense.
So, but are they all a state of consciousness, or are they in physical reality, these other universes?
They're all in different states.
Different, could be astral, causal, whatever, mental.
Well, yeah, some are dense, some are less dense, some have different laws, but they all have the same astrology, electromagnetism. They're all electromagnetic, but they'll have different laws. This one has the law of karma. Here, it's all the law of karma. But getting back to the likes of Stephen Greer, yes, they are controlled opposition. Aliens don't come from outer space. They actually come from under the earth. There are 7 more planes under the earth, and that's in Bhagavad Gita. They are called the 7 subterranean heavenly planes, but in fact they are hellish planes. And those people under the earth have been cast down to Tata, and they are not lawfully allowed to come up to our plane. But they have broken that law. They have come up through the North Pole and through Antarctica and through the ocean with their UFOs and their technology, and they've come here and subverted humankind by putting their bloodlines, making bloodlines here on the earth of their children to rule over us. And this is breaking all universal laws. The earth is only supposed to be purgatory and paradise. It's not supposed to be hell. Hell is under the earth, under the hollow earth. There are 7 more disk planes.
And so hell
And
would
that's
be
where the
in another,
alien.
just another state of consciousness, another reality.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Which makes sense, right? So these other universes, they could be in other different realities. We don't know for sure, but we could only go there in our soul body, as soul, right? And see these other places. If we
I guess so. Yeah, there's no way you can teleport with a physical body. No.
No. I'm kind of losing your face there. Can you put your camera back up a little bit? Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm just losing you on the bottom end. Patrick Timpone, OneRadioNetwork.com. So, if as above, so below, writes Carol, is the blood cell of a mini version of the greater Earth, are both Taurus. Not sure I understand. Do you? If as below, so
I didn't
below.
hear that.
If as
getting,
below. Yeah, I'm sorry.
I just can't. I didn't hear that because it broke up.
Okay. If as above, so below, is the blood cell a mini version of the greater Earth, are both Taurus.
No, I'm not understanding your question.
Yeah, I don't understand either. So, are there planets inside the firmament where there's beings that live that fly around in spacecraft?
Yeah, they come from under the earth.
Well, they come from under the earth.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They come from under the earth. They don't come from outside of this solar system at all, at all, at all. They come from under the earth. That's where they've been confined to.
Confined by God? Or karma? Or
yep, by God, karma, the whole lot.
The whole works. But you say that they're just kind of coming out and they're misbehaving just to give us a hard time, or what?
Well, yeah, that's because they're evil and stupid and malicious. Of course, yeah, they want to bother people who are living in peace and steal their energy.
Steal their energy. Could you please ask your guest his explanation of fallen angels from Judy? Fallen angels.
Well, I just did. That's all those under the earth. They're fallen angels.
They're fallen angels. Yeah. Here's one for you from George. How can we be in a great awakening if we're in the Kali Yuga, which is the worst of the worst?
Hello, good evening.
Well, we're out of the Kali Yuga already. We're in another age. So that's why the elite are still trying to hang on to the old ways. We've moved on. And so, we just have to usher that age in. Stand up, stand tall, stand strong, stand courageous, and bring it in, bring it on.
And the people that are not coming along and are getting jabbed and just kind of dazed and confused, Santos, they're simply in another reality, right? Another state of consciousness. And we're existing just like we do with all of us. We're all in a different reality, aren't we? Our own reality.
Yep. According to our mental evolution.
Our mental evolution.
Soul evolution.
Do you have an idea where you might go when you leave this body?
Hopefully to Vrindavan, the highest plane.
Which one?
Vrindavan.
Vrindavan. Huh. And that's the highest guy?
According to Bhagavad Gita, yeah, Vrindavan, and under that is Vaikuntha, and under that is Brahmajyoti or Brahmananda, and under that is the world that we're living.
The world. Well, we covered a lot of territory here. We didn't, get in too much trouble, really. I mean, we could, but, So the idea of really debating flat Earth, spinning Earth kind of thing, that's really small potatoes when you think about it, isn't it?
No, it's the biggest potato.
Okay,
It's
so
just the
yeah,
big-
explain. All right, I didn't want to get the wrong impression from you. Okay, tell us why it's the biggest potato. I think so too, but I just said that because I didn't know what I was saying. Go ahead.
because we have a false idol, which is called the globe, which is invented to put wind in the sails of global agenda, global warming, global governance, global economy, global community, global lockdowns, global this, global that, global. And we know who the criminals are. We call them globalists.
That's right. We call them globalists. Right.
Right. So we need to get rid of the globe, which does not exist at all and never will.
Mhm.
And then we will get rid of the globalists.
Got you. So that's why it is a big potato. That's why I got so jazzed when I came that moment a month ago, right? And didn't sleep for a week. That's why.
But that's why I laugh when all these degenerates get on my channel and say, what difference does that make if we live in a globe or a flat earth? Well, what difference does it make if you're stupid or you're intelligent? There's a big difference, isn't there? You are stupid, and I'm thinking, because you asked such a question, how can you be so fucking stupid that you would ask such a question? What difference does it make? What difference does it make? Don't you want to know where you live? You want to be flying around in a suit, in a Jesuit suit, in a monkey evolution world where you could be dead tomorrow because it's going to crash into something,
Yeah.
Retarded, degenerate, freaking morons. The world is full of retarded, degenerate morons. When I see that, I just laugh my head up and think, well, there's no cure for stupidity. That's what my grandfather used to say. There's no cure for stupidity, son. They're stupid.
So we have no idea of how large the Earth is, right? This whole thing on the other side of Antarctica and all of that, it could just be forever kind of thing. I mean, huge. We don't know.
The Mayans taught,
Yeah.
and I'm living in the Yucatan right now.
Yes, sir.
There are Mayans all around me.
Yes, sir.
They taught that the Earth is an infinite plane. It just goes on and on.
Just goes on and on.
It just goes on and on and on. We don't know the limits of it.
So that's why you really would have to get more than 95 miles up to see it all, right?
Exactly. We can never. Look, there have been rockets and balloons that have gone up and filmed the flat Earth. You can see the horizon at eye level all around 360 degrees.
Right.
It's been proven that the Earth is flat.
Right.
You just have to find the correct videos to see the cameras that have been sent up, and you'll see that the Earth is flat.
Right.
But of course, globe deniers are just too goddamn stone motherless stupid to admit it, because then everything else will fall over and they'll realize how stupid they are. So they have to stick with stupidity and supporting stupidity. So they remain stupid. There's no cure for their stupidity, and they're all stupid. All globetards are just out and out stupid monkeys. They haven't evolved. They've got no mental power of their own.
Yeah, you are
They're just
hardcore, brother.
absolute
I tell you what,
stinking
you-
baboons.
you just don't have a lot of patience for these folks, do you?
Sometimes I do, you know. I mean, when I think about the ones that have attacked me, for instance,
Yeah.
you know, and then I go to their channel and look at them, and they've got 3 subscribers, and they've got nothing to give to the world. All they've got is not even a face, not even a picture of their face. Here I am. I'm putting my face out. I'm putting everything out into the world and teaching the truth. And they are faceless keyboard warriors, and they come. Oh, everyone knows it's a globe. Where do you come from, Santos? Where did you get your crazy ideas? Well, I got them from your ancestors, Globetard, because I'm talking to all the Globetards out there. The Globetards are sitting there going, oh, everyone knows it's a globe. Well, your ancestors didn't, and they were intelligent. They built Gothic cathedrals before Copernicus. They built pyramids. They built a whole civilization on the Earth based on flat stationary Earth. And in fact, all pilots are trained on a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Yes.
Any manual in existence that trains pilots always says in the introduction and all throughout the manual, the training is based on a non-rotating flat Earth. So we have the science. All the experiments that have been conducted have proven that the Earth is not moving. Michelson-Morley, Michelson-Gale, Sagnac, George Airy, James Bradley, Pierluigi Aguina, Marconi, all the great geniuses of history have proven that the Earth is stationary with their scientific experiments. And all they've got is the little degenerate, lying Jesuit Einstein, who says, I have come to conclude that no optical experiment can prove the movement of the Earth. Yes, because no experiment will prove the movement of the Earth, because obviously the Earth is dead still. It's not moving. When you're flying in a plane and there's no winds and you're sleeping, and it's almost like you're dead still. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, the pilot comes on loudspeaker and says, please put your seatbelts on. We're coming into some rough weather. Then all of a sudden, the plane's going boom, 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 up and down, and you're going like this. And you're going, Jesus, we're going to die. Are we going to get out of this? I've been through some rough flights, man. And I tell you, we're traveling at 650 million miles. This is what stupid globetards believe. And yet the Earth never goes up, up. Once in the history of the Earth, it never just goes a little bit of a flutter, a little bit of a shake, nothing. No, it's just dead still, flying at 650 million miles an hour. That's 870,000 Mach. That's 870,000 Mach.
That's what NASA says, right?
That's what globetards say.
So I thought the Earth was only moving at 666,000 miles around the sun, theoretically.
That's just the orbit around the sun.
Yes.
The sun going at 550,000 miles an hour around the center of the Milky Way galaxy, and the Milky Way galaxy is moving at 650 million.
So the whole thing is going 650 million, allegedly, right?
Huh?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Let me see if I understand. So the whole thing allegedly is doing 650 million miles an hour when we do the sun. Yeah.
That's the fourth speed. The first speed is the rotation, 1,000 miles an hour at the equator.
Yeah.
The second is the orbit, 66,060 miles an hour. The third thing is the sun going around the center of the Milky Way galaxy, 550 million miles an hour. The fourth movement is the Milky Way galaxy going around the center of the universe, 650 million miles an hour. And we never shake. These walls are not cracking. My feet are not trembling. The Earth is dead still stationary globe tards. Wake the F up. You look stupid because only intelligent people are flat earthers. All the rest, all the stupid ones are globe tards. All of them. And they look stupid. You look at them on their globe channels like Craig from FTFE channel. I mean, that guy has pork, bacon for breakfast, bacon for lunch, and bacon for dinner and for dessert. He looks oinkity oinkity porky. And that's the sort of people that are globetards. And yet you see the sexy, intelligent flat earthers, and they're just jealous because we're so sexy and vibrant and intelligent and we know where we live. And so they have to attack us because they are stone, motherless, dumb as dog poo.
Happy. We're happy. You know, we're happy guys. You know, I put promoted your show on my Telegram thing this morning, and somebody wrote in and said, "Well, I Googled this guy, and I think he's a Satanist. A Satanist. You think you're going to have him on? I bet you didn't know you were a Satanist." So.
Well, that guy's a shill and a degenerate, and he's the Satanist. And shame on you. Shame on you, whoever said that. You're a disgrace to humanity. You're a pimply-faced, unknown degenerate. No one will ever know your name. No one will ever know your name. And yet the world knows my name and knows that I am a Santa ball breaker, and I'll break Santa's balls for the rest of the history.
Can I quote Sean?
That's what I say to that degenerate, stone motherless, dumb degenerate.
I understand. Judy writes in, could you ask Santos if he would describe this as a cosmic egg, and is all this madness because the fallen angels can't get out? Seems like they want to bust out and thus breaking the ceiling, and also the drilling underground. Does he think they are trying to drill out from below? Whoa. Do you understand that?
The answer is yes, brother Patrick. They are trying to break out because they've been confined. They'll never break out. They will never break out. They're trying to do it with bombs. You know, when they say they're doing nuclear testing,
yes, sir.
They're actually exploding them up there in the firmament. They are putting, according to Hillary Clinton, 50 million cracks in the firmament. In the glass.
What do they want to crack the firmament for, Santos? I mean, what do they care?
Because that's how they think they're going to escape, but they're not.
Oh, you mean you're talking about the globalists? Globalists, I think they got to get out of here because they know that we got them on the run?
No, it's because they've been confined. They don't like to be confined.
Ah.
They want to be like us, free. Our souls can leave here whenever we want.
Sure.
We can leave. They can't. They cannot leave here. They are trapped.
But only because they think they are, right? Like they could.
No. They are trapped. They've gone past the point of no return. They have been condemned, judged, and executed.
Whoa.
Not literally executed, but execution is definitely coming their way. And all the globetards who continue to insist that they live on a globe, they will be guillotined, hung, and electrocuted because they're useless. All globetards are useless eaters and useful idiots. And they will be euthanized first. They're all the ones going to get the V. There will never be one flat earther that will go and get those medications. Guaranteed. They're too intelligent.
Here's one for you. This is great. I'm glad they brought it up because I wanted to from TJ, and he lives in Santa Fe. It's a great spot. Could you ask your guest to explain this whole idea, the theory of gravity? Is it just a theory, or there is a really gravitational pull on the Earth? Thanks for the show.
Good question. Gravity is a theory. Gravitation is a reality. There are two things going on, radiation and gravitation. Simple. Radiation is redshift. Gravitation is blue shift. All torus fields, like your torso body, which is a torus field, has a blue chakra at the top and a red chakra at the bottom, indicating that our torso is electromagnetic. So gravity, the hocus pocus, honky shonky, wonky, dodgy, bodgy, bogus pseudoscience from the Jesuit Newton, is just a hocus pocus theory, and it will never be upgraded to a fact. It still is a theory. It's called the gravity theory, and that's all it will ever remain. It will never, ever be upgraded to a fact, because you can't stick a cargo ship full of shipping containers going to Australia upside down, being stuck to the earth while there's butterflies flying around and birds and steam coming from the ship. The steam is going up, up. Why doesn't the steam just go smash into the water, just like the big cargo ship that has been impacted and stuck under the earth in Australia? Stupid globetrotters, absolutely unthinking, stupid, dumb as dog food people.
Oh, I want to explain this airplane thing. So, there's an interesting idea when you're flying around. We were talking about flying, and then if there was really a curve, you'd have to continue to adjust the airplane, right, to keep the gyroscope thing level, right?
Well, gyroscopes prove that we're living on a stationary Earth, because gyroscopes never, ever, 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 ever change their orientation. They from the place whence they leave to the place where they land, the gyroscope will always be flat, because it's a flat Earth. It's a plane Earth. That's why we call it a plane net, because it is plane. It's a horizontal plane net. It's in the word. I mean,
when that argument goes out there, the globalists will say, well, the atmosphere is moving with the Earth, and that's why you don't have to adjust the plane downwards to, you know what I'm saying? That's their argument.
Pilots are actually nosing up 4 degrees. That's how they fly all around the Earth. They actually are instructed to nose up. They never, ever, 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 ever nose down. I've flown from Melbourne to San Francisco, and I have felt that the aeroplane has gone level all the way. Every now and then the pilot will say, we're going to be descending a little bit, and you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're descending. And then the pilot will say, put your seatbelts on, we're going to ascend a little bit, just to avoid the wind currents in front of us. And then you feel it. You feel the plane going up like this. You can feel it. You can feel when you're going down. You can feel when you're going up. You can feel when you're taking off. You can feel when you're landing, and you can feel when you're level. And that's when you're in the air, and there is no dipping of nose. Nose up. Pilots say nose up. That's their first rule. Nose up. Always. Nose up.
The idea that the Earth is spinning 1,000 miles an hour to the east, if a plane was leaving New York going to Los Angeles, I mean, in theory, if you go by the NASA theory, wouldn't you be moving at 1,500 miles per hour and get there in about 2.5 hours?
Exactly. Globetrottery is just absolute sheer stupidity. It's the religion. It
doesn't even make sense, It's like, okay.
It's the religion, the blind faith religion of the fools who are like sheep that are just walking up the ramp to the slaughter.
Huh.
And they will be recycled. They're just too stupid. There's no hope. There's no cure for stupidity. I've only got a few minutes left too, by the way.
Okay, let me know. 5 minutes, 10? What do you got?
Yeah, 5 minutes.
Let's do 5. Yeah, let's just wrap it up. So I want just to touch on the Jesuit idea. So these religions, which I suspect are tied in with the other religions, Catholic and all that, they put out this whole globalism thing long ago just to keep us trapped try to keep us trapped into our disillusion?
Absolutely. That's all they're doing. They are parasites, they are vampires, and they are harvesting our energy. And it's time to say enough is enough. We're not going to take your medications. We're not going to be locked down. We're going to be free. We were born free, and we will remain free forever. And that's my message to the Jesuit Pope and all of his demon followers who are following orders from him. He's a pedophile, he's a pimp, he's a degenerate, and he's a son of a whore. Pope Francis's mother was and is a whore.
Wow.
Because he's a son of a whore.
Wow. No holds bars with you, my friend. And
not at all. His mother was a whore. She was a puta. That's what you say in Spanish. Hijo de puta.
Italiano too. Putana.
Hijo de puta.
In Italian, it's putana, right?
That's Spanish.
Oh, that's Spanish, yeah. So it feels like this entire COVID, which we know is just a big lie, this whole thing for the last 2 years, really, is it fair to say, Santos, before you go, that this never would have happened if we would have been just more awake and knew where we were? And this, so their ploy so far has played out. They were able to pull off this COVID thing because we've been programmed for so long. Right?
Yes, brother.
Yeah.
They did a mud flood. They did some plagues. They did it to the Chinese with opium. They did it to the Australians. They did it to the American Indians with smallpox.
Yeah.
They just go into a country,